So you can't get over here and get mad and want to beat people up because they are not on a list. Like, get your together, Colorado. I knew once weed legalized, I was like, bro, this is going to turn into like a metropolis. There's not like a lot going on for young adults. So I just started partying a lot in my late teens, early 20s. Where the house that I really grew up in when I was young is in this little town called Putney. I think it has like a population of like maybe 3,000 people. I think artists should get back to the basics. Throw a video release party.
Yeah.
People are gonna come.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, make it exciting. Yeah. Being dope is not enough. Being skilled is not enough. You have got to have strategy behind it. Dude, everybody's dope.
Yeah.
Catch me on the right night, I'm a rapper too.
Mile High Minute, #1 blog in the universe. Today, we got a very special guest, one of the hottest bloggers in Colorado, across the nation, really, Lizzy Brodie.
Hey.
How are you doing?
I'm excellent. Thank you for having me here.
No
Appreciate
problem.
You.
Thank you.
You're one of the hottest blogs in Denver. Come on now. I'm just the OG with it. That's all.
I'm trying. I learned from the greats. You know.
Period.
But let's get right into it. So, you're originally from the East Coast, right?
Yeah, so I grew up in New England, in Vermont. I was born and raised in Vermont till I was 24, and then I moved out here.
New England's in Massachusetts, right?
New England is Vermont, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, and Maine.
Oh, it's not a city?
No.
Oh, that's interesting.
Okay, we're going to go back.
Yeah. I thought it was a city because the Patriots.
No, you know what? Okay. It's cool.
That makes sense.
Yeah, no, New England is like the region of the top East Coast there.
And that's because England, when they came over,
I haven't been in school for so long, bro. I don't know. You can ask me some street now about that. I do not know this.
All right. Well, I'm a nerd, so I'm going to assume that it was because the English came over over there up in the Northeast. All right. So let's get into your backstory. So you born and raised out there pretty much? How long did you spend out there?
So till I was 24, I moved to Colorado in 2009. So my whole life I was there until I needed to grow up and get out of there.
Yeah.
There was a lot going on for me at that time.
What was your childhood like in your relationship with your parents? Oh,
man, my childhood was amazing. Like, so where the house that I really grew up in when I was young is in this little town called Putney. I think it has like a population of like maybe 3,000 people. Really small. And we had 3 acres. And me and my 2 older brothers, I mean, we were outside all the time growing up. So in the summer, we were catching frogs at the ponds. My brother Jeff would be fishing. I would be like little sister, tailing him, trying to hang out. We had a garden for a few years on our property that had like everything growing on it. You know, Vermont has wild blueberries and strawberries. So I would just sit out in our backfield, just pick strawberries off the ground, like just what is life? You know, it's good. So it was good. We had a good growing up. My parents, you know, wonderful parents. They divorced when I was I want to say like 10 or 11. So that was like a little tough on the family, like any, you know, separation can be. But, you know, looking back, you know, things always work out how they're supposed to. And, you know, everybody's still close. My mom and dad are friends to this day, and both sides of the family are still in touch and get along and stuff. So, yeah, it's been good. It's been good, yeah.
What were your like hobbies and interests growing up before like the music and stuff like that?
Honestly, I mean, like when I was really little, I wanted to be a singer or a lawyer because I argued all the time. So I was told that I was going to be I'd be a good lawyer. Man, it's hard to say like what, I mean, like in high school, I smoked a lot of weed, listened to a lot of music. I didn't really have like what was I gonna say? Like,
Hobbies.
there's something. Yeah, like, I mean, I played basketball growing up. I played volleyball first couple years of high school. I definitely played softball. Love playing softball. I did play softball. I think up until I was like 18. So, I think I was 18. But I had gotten in a car accident shortly after the last season that I had started, and that kind of stopped that. But yeah, I mean, I was like, I didn't travel a lot. I didn't go to a lot of concerts. So there was like a lot that I really didn't do, that I didn't know that I like loved until I got older and started doing that. So with that being said, you know, Vermont is like a small town, a small state, you know, it's kind of country. There's not like a lot going on for young adults. So I just started partying a lot in my late teens, early 20s. Got in a little bit of trouble.
What kind of trouble?
So I basically, well, the first time I had gotten in trouble, I was leaving this party with my homegirl because we were like, wanted to go into town to get some weed. And I'm like, for whatever reason, I'm like, yeah, I'll drive. I didn't have a license or anything, so I don't know what I was thinking, but...
Just reckless as a kid,
Yeah, just reckless. And I'm just driving her car, and there's a car coming towards us, and she's like, oh, you got your high beams on. So I go to, like, turn them off, and of course I flash the car coming towards us. Well, it was a state trooper. So he pulls us right over. My drunk ass is just driving. And I remember, you know, he ended up basically... letting us like park the car because it was like at a pull off on the side of the road, and ended up giving me 2 tickets, one for like driving without a license and then one for drinking, but didn't like arrest me, didn't like just like drop me to my house, and I had these 2 tickets that I had to pay for, and so I was able to like hide it from my mom. So I kind of like lucked out. I was like, damn, okay, thank you for that. But, you know, as time went on, I basically started dating some drug dealers, and kind of got hip to the game a little bit, until it got to a point where I was really supplying for other dealers in my town.
Damn.
Yeah.
So it weren't just like, it wasn't just like dime bags. So you know what I'm saying? It was more like...
No, like it started that way. Like when my first, he was like, all right, for every $100 you sell, I'll give you like $10, or I'll get your nails done. And I was like, hell yeah, that sounds great. Like, I was like, whatever. Looking back, I was like, damn, girl, you was getting gypped out. Anyways, but so, you know, he ended up getting locked up, and, mind you, me and him are actually still really great friends to this day. But while he was in jail, I ended up meeting somebody else, also a drug dealer. He was a little more heavy into it. So I started helping him make sales. And then it got to, you know, I was just fully in the mix. We were driving down to the city, picking up, coming home, bagging and everything. And because I was local, I knew everybody, right? Yeah. Like I had customers that they couldn't have because they didn't know them. You know, They trusted me, you know me. So, you know, I was just like, that was like my life. I was like balls to the wall with it for quite some time. And, you know, I did get arrested a couple times, did face some federal felony charges, possession charges. My boyfriend at the time ended up doing time off that case. So we were arrested together, right? So he ended up getting the charges, the actual, you know, because I don't think 2 people can get convicted of the same thing at the same time.
Was that like his car or something? Or?
So, well...
Did he just...
He had already... he's already been in jail. He already had previous charges. So it was like kind of easy for them to look at me as a white girl and him as a convicted, you know, to... Felon or whatever. Right, yeah. To basically let him take those charges. It was just easier. Although they tried to get me to... like snitch on him, you know, like they tried to get me to just put it all on him, and I refused to do it. And, you know, in a small town, I remember people were like, oh, she's snitching. Why is she not locked up? I'm not, there's nothing to snitch about. I like told them, I was like, I knew the drugs were there. So let me tell you what happened with the first time that my house was raided, because it was raided twice. So the first time it was raided.
This was what, late teens, early 20s?
So this was 2004.
Okay.
So I was 19.
Okay.
So this was New Year's Eve going into 2005. And we had popped some Molly that night. Like we were partying, right? Like it was New Year's Eve. We were lit. And I remember laying down. It was like probably like 4 a.m. And I remember laying down with my man, and I just like couldn't sleep. I just felt weird. I felt funny. I felt an energy. And then like as soon it was like boom, they just kicked in the door, right? And they just come running into the back, because it was a 2-room apartment. So it was like studio-ish, right? And they just come running in, guns, get out the bed, you know, they're screaming at us, right?
In the middle of the night?
In the middle of the night. It was like 4 or 4:30 in the morning. I swear I heard them outside the windows or something. I don't know what it was, but when I heard them bang down the door and come in, it was like, I wasn't even shook. It was like I was expecting it. And I get goosebumps just thinking about that, because that was like, that was a moment. I'll never forget that. I'll never forget how that felt. They tear us out the bed. You know, it was scary, but like I was calm. I mean, I didn't cry or anything. Like I was just like, oh shit, it's happening, you know?
It was coming, I guess, in a way.
I think so. You know, I think I just had a feeling. And so, yeah, that was crazy. And we had a safe in the apartment. It had a lot of drugs, a lot of money. So they ended up taking, you know, all that shit. They took me down, arrested me. I was released. He was held. But yeah, that was crazy. That was wild. And then like, I just, you know, like, it just kind of never really stopped. I mean, I was on probation for, I want to say like 18 months after that. And he was in jail. He did some time with that. But even so, like, I was still hustling even when I was on probation. I had a homegirl that lived next door, and she just let me put a safe over at her spot. So I would just go and bag up everything, keep all my drugs and money over there. And whenever I needed something, I'd just go over and get it and leave. So I kept like nothing in my house. I used to bury my drugs up on the hill behind my house too. And when I needed, listen, I was not keeping that shit on me. I actually used to, there was a dirt road. It was a few miles away, but it was just, there was a stone wall on that dirt road, and there was this like one specific maple tree. I used to hide my drugs out in that stone wall on a random back road. I was like, not around. I was like, I'm not gonna not make this money, but I'm not gonna keep it on me, you know? So it was such a crazy time. Like, man, and then the second time my house was raided, I was actually not home when my house was raided, but I had just left to make a sale. And when I came back, basically what we had just gone and picked up a bunch of drugs and brought it back to the apartment. We were breaking it all down. So I was like, cool, I'm about to go meet so-and-so up at the gas station real quick. I'll come back down. So when I came back down, the apartment that I lived in at the time was on a one-way. It kind of made like a U, and I was right at the end of the block. So when I come down the street, there's a New Hampshire, which New Hampshire is right across the river from that town that I lived in. So it was like right there. There's
New Hampshire?
Yeah, so the Connecticut River separates the two, right? Okay. So there was a New Hampshire cop, and I'm like, what the f-? And I looked down the block, and they got, there's more cops. There's like a whole bunch of shit going on. I'm like,
you paranoid at that time.
Well, you know what? I don't know what type of thug in me decided to do this, but I did this. I had probably like a softball baggie of work all bagged up, 50s and 100s, right? And I was wearing these big cargo sweatpants at the time. I was like, I used to wear sweatpants and white tees. Like, I was just like, because I used to bang in my white tee, right? Yeah. This was that era. Right. This was 06 for sure. And So I put the drugs, I hide them on me, right? And I'm like, I'm going to go down there and see what's going on. So I put the drugs on me, I hide them, I walk down the block, and I'm like, yeah, I live here. I'm like, what's going on? They have my boyfriend, 2 of his homeboys cuffed. They're like destroying my apartment, destroying it.
You didn't think to put it away or anything?
I mean, I put it.
But I meant like outside.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I was thinking. I really don't. But so I get in there and they're like, all right, well, because you, this is your place, we're going to need to cuff you as well. So I was like, yeah. And I thought for sure, like I kind of always lived in this state where I was just ready to go to jail. Like I knew what I was doing. I knew what the consequences were. And I was just like, if they get me, they get me, F it. Like what, it is what it is. So, I had the drugs on me and they cuffed me. And they have a female officer start to search me, right? But mind you, I had these big ass, like, I don't know if they were like Johnny Blaze sweatpants or what, but they were big and thick. And so she starts searching me, searching under my bra strap, searching everywhere.
Didn't find it.
Doesn't find it. Doesn't even, nothing. But I do get arrested. So they take me down to the station, they arrest me, whatever. I get released.
Still didn't find it?
Still didn't find it.
That's wild.
I was sitting in the back of a cop car with like so much drugs on me. It was insane. I was like, this is wild. But yeah, so, I just like, that was my lifestyle for quite a few years, and I just like
how long? 4 or 5?
7?
7? Damn.
6, 7 years?
Yeah, it's a minute.
Yeah, sure. And so like there were times where I was working a job. There are times I was not working a job. I definitely used to like pay my rent in cash. That was not a thing. I mean, this is like, 2005, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Nobody cared. They were like, cool,
Right.
But, that lifestyle is really heavy. And, like it's crazy looking back on just the stories, the things that I went through. But like something like this one night in particular that finally like prompted me to be like, all right, it's time to do something different. My older brothers had already moved out to Colorado, right? So they were like, you need to like come on out here too. And I was like, I was just happy. I was doing my thing. But this guy I was seeing at the time, this was a different apartment that I lived in, and I was on the 2nd floor. I was like down the street from the main street. There were some bars and shit down there, and I was home and he was out, and I knew he was on his way home, so I kept checking, looking for him to pull up to the house. Mm-hmm. And I checked out the window and I just see cops in the driveway. So I was like, here we go again. I was like, so I just ran into my closet. I grabbed all my money, put all my money on me. This was February of 2009. And I opened the window on the 2nd floor, dump out a bunch of drugs. I didn't have a lot on me. I had more money than drugs on me at that time just because of the timing.
Yeah.
And so
before the re-up.
Yeah, exactly. So I just like dumped it out the window and I just sat there. I was just like waiting for them to come bust in my door, right? Man, and like lo and behold, it was them. The cops had pulled the guy I was seeing over in my driveway. And that's what they were doing.
Oh. Okay.
Right? So he had gotten a DUI. But for me, I'm thinking, here we go. Right? And it was that night that I was like I think the next morning I was just like, oh my God. Like, I can't live like this anymore. Like, this is crazy. I just wasted, a bunch of drugs. And I'm like, I'm constantly was like ready for it. I was just constantly, I wouldn't say I was like super paranoid, but I would say that I was hyper aware of like the cops, the detectives. I used to memorize the license plates on the detective cars, undercover cars, so that I'd know.
Damn.
If it was them and shit.
It's a small town, that makes sense.
Yeah. I just think that, and I hustled up until the day that I moved out here. Mm. And I'm grateful nothing more happened. But I know that if I had stayed and not moved, I would have gotten caught up in another case, and I probably would have done time. I'm like, I don't know if I can say this on camera. I don't know.
The statute of limitations?
Yeah, that's a thing, right?
Yeah.
Can't arrest me for something after it's been like 7 years, I think.
I feel you, though, because I'm like, I think it's 10. Let me check. Because there's some things I want to talk about, but I can't.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm pretty sure...
does it matter on where you did it or the current state? Let's see. Statute of limitations, Colorado.
But it was Vermont.
I'll look that one up, too.
Like,
felony of general most misdemeanor. So it says felonies 3 years.
Oh, then we're good.
Most felony crimes have a 3-year statute. This is Colorado though.
Okay.
I'll look up Vermont in a second. Only exceptions are like homicide or like serious crimes like murder. Or
right.
Let me look up Vermont.
Yeah, I'm curious. Because, for a long time, I didn't share my story, my background. People here did not know. But, I was
6 years in Vermont.
Oh, okay. So we're good. I've been out here like 15, 16 years now. But I used to smuggle drugs into the jail.
Yeah.
To my ex.
Damn.
And never got caught. And so he got caught with the drugs. And then they took my visits away, right? Mm-hmm. And then when my next relationship, when he got locked up, I had to go have a meeting with the superintendent of the jail to get my visits reinstated so that I could go visit him.
Yeah.
I didn't smuggle him in any drugs because I was like, no. But like the whole point of me saying that is that when it got to that point in 2009, I was like, I've gotten away with a lot.
Yeah.
I've gotten away with just about everything.
Yeah.
So like like Colorado just looks like the way to go. My brothers are out there. Everyone's supportive and encouraging. So yeah, I just, from that next morning of that, that night, I was like, it's time. And I just made arrangements for the next few months. And then I was here in Colorado at the end of May of 2009.
Wow. That's a wild
crazy.
So when you'd say you'd go to the city, would that be like Boston? Or?
So no, we actually used to go down to Springfield, Massachusetts.
Okay.
Which is Springfield and Holyoke. My connect that I made was in Springfield. My ex, his connects were always in Holyoke. But if you look up how dangerous those cities are, they're out there. Mm. So like looking back, I'm like, I am so lucky I never got caught up in some super crazy shit because I easily could have. I put myself in a lot of places. But, again, it was like, that was just my life at that time. It was nothing for me to drive down and go pick up a couple ounces, hide them on my body, and drive back up crossing state lines. I knew where all the stadies were parked out on the highway. So I was like, I knew when to slow down. I knew what to look for, But, I mean, like I said, I got away with a lot of shit. But I think that era of my life really, really, really shaped me, and it taught me a lot. And like the influence that hip hop had on me during that time too was like, it's kind of funny because, like it made me connect to the music a little bit differently. Right. Because I understand what some of them are talking about, like I'm like, okay, like, yeah, but like at that time, we were a lot of Dipset, a lot of Jadakiss, a lot of, it was, that era of music was like the soundtrack to my like hustling days. And, I don't regret it. I think that era like shaped me a lot. So, I'm grateful.
I think it was probably easier to get away with stuff back then too. Now with social media.
Sure, are you kidding? Yeah. We had the chirp phones.
Yeah.
Like, nobody knew. You could just be like, yo, no one could track that.
To relate a little bit, I mean, actually, what was it like? Did it start off with like weed, or like did it, and then it grew into other stuff?
So
or can you talk about?
Yeah, I can. So what's funny is that I've always had a little hustle in me, but I've seen how it's changed over the years. But when I was in high school, I definitely used to buy quarters of weed or maybe a half, right? And I'd just break it down into little $5 and $10 bags, and I'd sell them.
Yeah.
So like anytime there was an opportunity to make money, I was just always like down for it.
Yeah.
So like I had a little hustle on me. Exactly. But like
turned it into a positive.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I just so like I would say like sure a little bit started with a little bit of weed, but. Really, I started partying myself, doing some drugs, doing some cocaine. And then once, I was around the guys selling the cocaine, I was like, I can sell this. Yeah. I definitely can sell this. I remember breaking shit down without a scale. So I think it's Jeezy who says, I don't know if it's a Jeezy. I think it's Jeezy, but he's like, I can eyeball work. I'm not you, jerk. It's not Jeezy. That's somebody else. But
sounds like something.
The Jeezy has it. He's like he has a line where he says,
definitely some Atlanta.
Yeah, he was like, we don't need no scale. But I was like, like there was a time I'm like, this is a 50 and this is 100, and that's just how I used to break it down. But I never really sold anything other than that. Not even hard. I didn't even sell crack. I didn't really want to get my hands on that. Yeah. Because that type of clientele is next level, right? The crackheads are going to show up at your door whether you ask them to or not. Right. And that was kind of a thing it was like, don't ever show up at my house. Right. Come on now. Don't sell crack where you rest at, right? Biggie was telling us, he gave us the commandments and shit, but I mean,
sleep, whatever.
Facts. So I didn't really touch any of that. I mean, maybe a couple times, but definitely not something I wanted to deal with. And then I never dealt with heroin. Maybe some Molly here and there, maybe some pills here and there, but nothing super crazy. It was mostly coke. It's interesting because when I left, within a couple of years, heroin became the thing. I've lost a lot of friends in my hometown to heroin, fentanyl overdoses. So it's just interesting, and I'm actually kind of grateful that never, if I had stayed, would I have started to dabble in that industry, in that. Right. And that's, I have some people that I used to sell to that I, kind of feel some type of way. Like, I wish I didn't. It felt wrong looking back, So I can't imagine, if you got a heart, man, you're selling heroin and fentanyl and all types of shit, and people are dying from it.
Mess your head up.
How does that sit with you? How do you... Right. Yeah, I don't know. So it's interesting because I never saw that shit. We was all blowing some coke. We was staying up all night. But once I started selling, I wasn't doing it as much. There was a time where I was having a ball, but once I started making money, it was all money. So I'm not gonna
get addicted to that money.
Yeah, I was very addicted to the money. I loved it. I was like,
that quick money too.
Quick money, man. It was amazing. And I'm like, now that I'm older and I look back, it's like if I had any of the financial literacy that I have now, then shit, but we was just having fun, making money, living a good life, fat and happy. That's what I like to say. I was fat and happy.
I never got to those. I only sold weed. I've never even told this on camera either, but I feel like I can now. After looking at the statute.
You're like, about 3 years?
Yeah. So I sold weed end of high school, early college years. It was only for 2-3 years. It wasn't much, but I had a kind of I would get hella paranoid, and and this was just weed, right? But I would be hella paranoid, and I don't know. It's just, I guess it wasn't that bad looking back at it, but in the time, I was driving around with no license.
Well, what year was it?
This was 2015 to 2018.
So it wasn't legal. Even all that, but it was new.
Yeah, and I mean, I didn't have a med card or nothing, so it was still illegal for me to do that, obviously. But it was still I don't know. I just got addicted to that quick money.
For sure.
It was so easy, and then I seen people in my school doing it, and I was hanging out with them, and it was just But I never get into serious trouble, but I actually got in trouble for it was like a DWAI. Because I was really, like, I was smoking and driving.
Yeah.
It wasn't alcohol, but it was weed.
Right.
But they put me in a cell for like an hour or two. And that was enough for me.
Yeah, you're like, I'm good. This is fine. I'm not.
That's where I learned my lesson. And kind of like how you said...
you have that moment.
Yeah. I didn't get too far into it. But, like, that moment, I'll always remember just sitting in that cell high as
You're like,
just paranoid. Like, the cops are asking me, they're looking at my phone, asking me all these questions and shit. And I was just like, bro, like... yeah, this lifestyle ain't for me. And after that, I was like losing girlfriends, losing friends. Like I was starting to go down the wrong path.
Yeah.
And I could just feel like people. Yeah. So like to relate, I was just like, I can't do this no more. And so I could only imagine how you were feeling like for years. And
it was just too much. It's just, I was like tired of like lying and having to just be constantly, like I had somebody, she was like, she's probably still, she's one of my best friends to this day, but she was young and crazy too, but I left her with some work to get rid of while I was out of town. Mm-hmm. She did it all.
Oh shit.
So I'm like, yo, like what the like shit. And so, but I mean, I don't hold anything against him. I got another homeboy. I'd be thinking, he owes me like, I think like $700-800 for a half ounce, which was, I don't know how much it really goes for these days, but at that time it was about $1,400 or so an ounce. And so, every once in a while, man, I'd be like, damn, he owed me that money. I need that. And he's on the straight and narrow these days. He's making good money. I want to be like, yo, Luda, run me that bread one time, because you owe me that. But, it's all good. I was, I think I was just, it's when you're making good money and you're good at it, it's hard to walk away from it, And I remember having to have the conversation with my mom because I was afraid, after my first arrest, I was afraid to tell her over the phone what was going on. So she thought I was just an addict. And I was like, I'm doing a lot of drugs, basically. Yeah. And then I remember taking her to lunch, and I was like, Mom, I'm not. I'm like, I'm making a shit ton of money. This is how I'm doing it. I'm doing it I'm like, it's not me. If it wasn't for him, we probably wouldn't have, because he was the one, dealing with all the, crazy people. My customers were like the business owners in town and shit, the homies. It wasn't like these, he was selling to the crackheads. And what's a crackhead going to do? They're going to get hemmed up and they're going to tell.
Right.
And that's how the whole thing falls apart, every time. So,
I'll never forget, like, I had probably like a quarter pound of weed. And my mom walking in the room.
Oh, shit.
Just looking at me like, this was in Castlegate when I lived up there.
Oh, shit.
She was looking at me so crazy. And I don't know, she used to get so mad because sometimes I would smoke her weed.
Oh, shit. She's like, damn it.
So, what was that transition like from, okay, you can't come to Colorado, you're done selling drugs, like what, was it hard to quit? And like, what were you now doing over here to like make money? Did you just get a job? Like, what was that lifestyle change like?
So I think that I was kind of ready for a new life for myself. It was hard though. I moved out here. I didn't know anybody. It took me like 4 months to get a job. And I just got like a serving job at a restaurant. But I remember I applied to like 120 places. It was crazy.
Because of your record or?
No. So because I was never convicted of any felonies, I think it just ended up being misdemeanors.
Okay.
I don't think that actually.
You got lucky there.
Yeah. No, I did. And that's because I was next to the already convicted felon. So they just, but hey. So I basically like ran through all my drug money during that summer, and I just kept thinking, I'll get a job, because I moved out there with what I thought was a good enough money to like cushion me and put some in savings. And I went through it, and I think that was like the universe's way of like forcing me to start over from the bottom, and not letting that lifestyle cushion me, making me really work for it. So it was like a little hard, but I was really excited to be here. And, you know, I basically like found friends off of MySpace. So if you remember, you could like search for women or men. Friends, yeah, in between, within so-and-so miles of whatever city, right? Mm-hmm. So I did that, and I would find girls, and I would go look at their profile, be like, oh, they go out. Like, they go hit the club and stuff. So I'd hit them up, like, hey, I just moved here. Like, I'm trying to find friends. And, yeah, I would just go link up with random girls. And I know it sounds kind of crazy, but, like...
Nowadays, that sounds crazy.
But I would go link up with them, and I was literally at Reggae on the Roof every Thursday. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was, like... in the mix with so many people that I'm friends with now, but we didn't know each other yet because I was just new. Yeah. But I loved it. I loved vinyl rooftop reggae on the roof. I was at 5 Degrees, and, you know, I started making friends, and I was having a ball. I enjoyed it, you know, like it was kind of just like so like Lizzy isn't technically like my, you know, I'm an Elizabeth, right? Mm-hmm. And my family all calls me Beth. I grew up going by Beth. In high school, everyone knew me as Beth, right? Yeah. You want to know what's really funny? I'm going to say this. Yeah. What I hated about being called Beth was that my ex, you know, he's like thuggish, whatever. Yeah. Him and his friends be like, yo, Beth. Hey, yo, Beth. I'm like, why do you say it like that? Like, it makes me feel like I'm so frumpy or something. Yeah. I don't know, but I hated it.
It gives Karen in a way.
It does. I hated it. Like,
my mom is Karen, but anyways. So.
Mom. Yeah. Oh, Mom. But, you know, like, yeah, it just, so when I moved here, I started going by Elizabeth. Mm-hmm. And I was like, this is just my way of like reinventing myself, you know, taking all this shit that I've been through and, you know, just becoming like a better version of myself, you know. And so I started going by Elizabeth, and then which shortly turned into Liz, then turned into Lizzy, and then turned into Lizzy Brodie. So it's kind of like, you know, my name has like a lineage, but yeah, I just, so, you know, I had a good time when I moved out here. It was, like, good for me. I needed that. I needed to, like, you know, I wasn't judgy of anybody. I was, you know, I've always kind of been, like, even in high school, I was a girl that was, like, friends with every different crew. I had friends all over the place, always very social. And that's just kind of how I've always been. So moving here, I was like, this is great, you know, because now I'm out of Vermont, and I'm, like, in Denver, there's all this new, fresh energy, beautiful backdrop, you know. I was like, I got no complaints.
What year was this?
2009.
So you came right before the boom, like the city really grew.
Yeah. So I definitely saw that. I saw the transformation for sure. And I knew once weed legalized, I was like, bro, this is going to turn into like a metropolis. And I like, even out by the airport, I remember being like, all this is going to be built on. Up in Erie, they're going to build on this one day. And sure enough, it's like, I mean, it's all land.
Right.
You know, so.
Was that hard, or was that cool, or both, given like the marijuana boom in Denver, given the price and stuff?
No, it was cool. It was really cool. You know, you spend your whole life, I mean, not my whole life, but you know, you're always so afraid of getting in trouble for weed.
Right, smoking weed. Right,
and then it's like, it's legalized, and then you're like looking at the westward, and there's like buy 1/8, get one free. You're like, heck, there's some shit, you know? So it was like cool to experience both, you know? It's cool to see the transition, and you know, like Cat Williams says, and he's like, it's a plant. It just grows like that. And if I happen to set it on fire, like, yeah, there are some effects, you know? It's like, legalize weed everywhere, man.
It's just literally
it just grows like that. Nobody does anything to it.
Right, well, it's like, I don't even smoke anymore, but I still feel like it should be legalized, like, especially when they're prescribing all these athletes like pills and stuff like that. Like, just give them some weed. Like,
literally.
Yeah. But okay, so when did like the focus start going into like hip hop and stuff like that? And I know you brought up the serving job. Were there any other career paths you were taking, or was it focused on hip hop? Like where'd you kind of go from there? So basically,
you know, I'd always been like a hip hop fan. You know, I grew up like loving hip hop and all kinds of music. And, you know, I'm good friends with Redman. So by this point, he had a show out here. So I was just serving, working in a restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
I thought in my mind, because my one brother is a chef. My oldest brother was always like really good with money. So in my head, I'm like, we're going to own a restaurant. My one brother is going to be the chef, and I'm going to like manage a front of house or something. You know what I mean? I was like, this is what this makes sense. But then there was a Redman show in probably 2000 and I'm going to say 12, right? And I meet this girl, Donna, who is, she knew this guy, Reddy Rock, one of the artists, Redman's nephew. And so me and her connected, and she's like, hits me up, and she's like, yeah, I'm throwing this event. You should like help me throw this event. I'm like, cool. So basically what she claimed was that she, worked with these guys, Slow Bucks. Now, if anyone, I don't know if you're familiar with Slow Bucks, but this is kind of
AP song, Slow Bucks.
Okay, well, this was kind of so they're like these two dudes, Slow and Bucks. They were based in New York. Okay. They had this brand. It was like the snail. Dipset used to wear it all the time. Like they would like Fab used to wear it. I can't remember if the concept was like Slow Bucks better than No Bucks, or if it was just their collaboration brand or whatever it was. But she basically was like, yeah, I'm a part of Slow Bucks, and I'm starting this Slow Bucks Denver movement, basically. And she was like, I'm throwing this party. Help me do it. And I was like, cool, all right, I'm down, And basically that was kind of like my introduction to a lot, because we were throwing an after party. It was the Club Paradise tour, which was, I want to say 2013. Drake was on that tour, Waka Flocka, I think Fab maybe, French Montana. Anyways, they did Fiddler's Green. And so
seeing Drake at Fiddler's Green, I can't even imagine.
This was I'm gonna have to see if I can find the flyer to see who was all on that lineup. But anyways, so she was like, yeah, like Slow Bucks has connections to a bunch of artists, so we're gonna book them for this after party. And we did. We booked flights, we booked contracts, we had Waka Flocka and French Montana there, booked a venue. So this was really my first promo, flyers, flyer design, the whole thing. I would just jumped right in. I was feet first, let's go. And
no planning or anything? Just no planning or nothing? Or thinking about it?
We planned it together, but I didn't really know. Like, she directed me a lot, but it was a little crazy. Like, I guess that night, the money got stolen from the door. So I don't really remember.
It was a setup.
Too much, yeah. It was crazy. She had somebody working the door that she really didn't know or trust. So at the time, at this particular time, I could only go off of what she told me. Right. I didn't know her for that long. Basically, we did some more events together. We did like a couple mixtapes together that were dope. Rocky G5, aka Trev Rich, was on there. We had probably, we had tons of local artists featured on it. We had DJs mixing it. Redman did a drop for the mixtape. So we got the mixtape sponsored.
Is it on, or was it?
It was physical.
Okay.
I probably have one somewhere. If I can dig it out and find it, I'll send you a couple screenshots so you can see the details. That was a lot of work, So I was walking into dispensaries totally like, hey, we're putting together this mixtape. This is who we are. This is what we rep. And this is why you should give us money to put your logo on it and shit, So
you were sponsorship.
Yeah, I was just started doing all this marketing, and I didn't even really know what I was doing, but I had some concept of it, right? So anyways, we did a bunch of shit together, me and her. It was cool, but there was one night at Vinyl, the friendship was done after that night. And so I really worked with her, was friends with her for like 1 year, right? But during that year, I learned a lot. I had networked like a mother, right? I just didn't even really know. I just knew that I wanted to know everybody. I wanted to be in the mix. I wanted to be everywhere, support. How can we work together? And I, and at that time, I was officially Lizzy Brodie. And the reason I started going by Lizzy Brodie was because my boyfriend at the time, he did not want me promoting. He did not like me. Yeah, like he did not like me promoting for Redman, didn't like me being in the mix, being here and being there. So I started a couple Twitter account, Facebook account under the name Lizzy Brodie because I wanted to be able to do my thing without him hating on me or without it causing a rift in our relationship. And Redman was the first person to call me Lizzy. Right? So I was like, okay, I can take Lizzy. And then Brodie I have tatted because that's my grandmother. I got this after she passed away, my Irish side of my family, right? So Lizzy Brodie, it just kind of flowed.
That was her name or?
Her last name.
Last name.
Last name, yeah. Brodie is a Irish heritage name. So I just started going by Lizzy Brodie. And so after my 1 year of doing the Slow Bucks Denver stuff, I had all these contacts in the city, you know, Welcome to the Dope Game, and I just knew all these artists and just basically let everybody know, like K-Tone remembers this, Top Shelf, everybody, I'm not working with Slowbucks anymore, I'm not working with Donna, but I'm here and I'd love to work with you, so I just kind of like tried to place myself in a position where I just wanted to continue doing dope shit with my friends,
Yeah.
And it just kind of really grew from there. I just, again, was here, there, and everywhere. I just became this consistent face in the scene and, loved supporting the local music scene, loved being in the mix. Ink Monster was a company that I worked with really. The owner, Reed, mentored me. But when I had my first meeting with him after this break from Slowbucks, I had written on a paper all the artist contacts that I had, all the venue contacts that I had, right? Like it was like Little Kim. I knew her the booking email and how much she wanted. Dilated Peoples. I just had like these lists of all these artists. Because when I was working with Slowbucks, we would try to book artists for stuff. Yeah. And I was the one reaching out, finding all the managers, all the booking agents, and getting all the information. So I just presented this piece of paper with all this information. I'm like, look, I don't know, but I got all this and I'm down to work. You know what I'm saying? And so he was like, Reed was like, all right, Lizzy. He's like, well, we are throwing an event in New York next month. Why don't you come out to New York and work the event with us?
Oh, that's dope.
So I was like, F it. So I flew myself to New York. I knew nobody really. But this event was called Sticky Situation New York City. And Sticky Situation was basically a sticker art show. Where he would it was invite only for artists, so they would design a sticker design for this event, right? And then the Ink Monster would blow it up and put it like on this, they'd put it, wherever, faux brick or on a wall or whatever, and people would come and they would vote. And there would be a cash prize for whoever would win. But then there'd be all these sponsors, right? So he used to have like Red Bull was there, and they'd free Red Bull for everybody. Deep Eddy vodka, free drinks. Fireball, free shots of Fireball. They'd have print t-shirt companies there, and they would just be printing people free t-shirts there. Like everything was sponsored. He didn't put no money into it on his own. He raised the money through sponsorship for these events. And so this particular one, Redman. So that's, I think, how me and Reed really knew each other, is because through Redman. Because I knew Redman previously, and then when I was out here, I started meeting everybody out here. So, yeah, but I crushed it. I mean, I worked my ass off with them that weekend. We basically took an alleyway in Staten Island next to the Homeboys shop and cleaned it out. I mean, we're sweeping the alley. We're power washing the alley, putting carpet down the alley. They're painting the side of this building black, and then putting up all the sticker designs from the artists. Built a little stage, Redman performed, like it was a whole thing. Cool. And I crushed it. I had a good time. I'm like, I love doing this. So it was like, that was my first, like, I was like, wow, like I can do this, I'm good at working events, and then working with Reed, and not only just working with him, but we became friends. He's like one of my best friends, to this day. But, I watched him raise all this money to throw these events. And I mean, that was incredible to me, you know? So I was able to look at the sponsorship decks. How do they look? What's the verbiage like? How much money are you asking for? What are the sponsors getting in return for it, right? So this was really my like introduction to like event marketing. And I just, you know, I took all that information and ran with it. I loved it. And I still love it. Like that shit, event marketing is probably one of the funnest things to me. I feel like, I just think it's dope as, you know, you go to an event and like I went to one in Atlanta and it was free bands, everything. Oh, yeah. This was like 2000 and maybe 15.
That was when Future first started.
Yeah, so he was maybe 16. He was like, but either way, I was like, wow, I've never been to a club where it's just like decked out to the T for an artist. Yeah. The cups. I mean,
Future,
everything.
Was it for Future?
Mm-hmm. He was hosting. He was hosting. I think maybe he had just dropped an album or something, you know. But I was like, this shit is fire. You know, but like shit like that. I'm like, bro, I love it. Yeah. You know, when you see interviews and you see product placement or brand placement or whatever, you know, like that shit just like excites me. Like you know, even Cardi B on her campaign right now for her new album coming out. You know, because we're in an era where it's like people have just been dropping music. Right. They've lost the art of a campaign, you know, really building up the world, getting them excited, you know, like, and, you know, I look at what Nipsey did with Victory Lap.
Oh man, yeah.
You know, that whole campaign inspired me like crazy, and watching Cardi B, well, Clips just had a great rollout for their album that they dropped over the summer, and then Cardi B's rollout right now. I'm like, this is how it's supposed to be, you know, finding ways to work around, you know, like to still be impactful and valuable and like drive excitement around an album drop. And this day and age is fire because everyone's just like swipe. Right. So to be able to find ways to grab attention and really campaign a project is like so dope to me. I love that shit.
I think when Trev released Out the Dark, I think that was one of my favorite rollouts from like a Denver artist, or AP when he did the Wins. Yeah. I thought those were two very... Yeah.
I mean, there's got to be some strategy behind it, you know? Right. I mean, artists just out here just dropping music and doing shit, but it's like, how are you enticing people? Right. You know what I mean? Like, sure, you're dope, but a lot of people are dope. Right. So what else can you do to make it exciting? Right. You know?
I try to tell artists, like, those, you know, pay me to post a video or whatever, and, like, it won't even be out yet. I'm like... Yeah. What's the point of this? Like, yeah. I mean, yeah, you might get some followers, sense. But like, this isn't going to drive anyone towards your video. Like, you know, wait till it's out, like,
or premiere it, or
do something, or it can't just be like I could throw the videos on the platform every once in a while and it might do good, but like I can't just post your new music video once a week, like. And you expect a ton of results, like do something interesting, like show these like custom shoes, or
I think people should get back to. I think artists should get back to the basics. Throw a video release party. Yeah, people are gonna come. Right. You know what I mean? Like make it exciting. You know, like be your own hype person. Like you know, you think that being dope is not enough. Being skilled is not enough. You have got to have strategy behind it. Dude, everybody's dope. Yeah. Shit, catch me on the right night, I'm a rapper too. Shit.
Talent's like 10%, maybe 20.
100, yeah, you know, like that's how it is for real. It's facts.
Okay. So who are some other like big name artists? Are there any like, is there one or two moments that really stick out to you with like a major artist or athlete that like you'll always remember?
Yeah, I got my Method Man moment for sure. You know, he's a great friend these days. We've known each other for years now, but there was a moment in I think 2014 we were backstage at Cervantes. I know I just talked about this in another podcast, but this is like one of my favorite moments, and I had been doing some product placements or maybe some like media organizations, whatever, you know, and you know, I just remember it was packed back there. It was, you know, after the show, so everybody's all loud and crazy and drinking, and I'm sitting on the couch and I just hear Meth be like, "Yo, Brodie, keep doing what you're doing. And I was like, what? Huh? And he was like, I see you, Brodie. Keep doing what you're doing. And I was like, I was damn near in tears in that moment, just because it meant so much to me, because that was like, you know, just he really acknowledged what I was doing, you know, and even maybe when I wasn't 100% sure what the I was doing, I was just like doing it. You know, I've always been one to just like, if there's a cool opportunity, I'm going to do it. And like, I take advantage. Yeah. Like, I'm always down for it, you know, and so I just, you know, and again, you know, at that time, people knew that I was friends with Redman and Method Man, so people were coming and wanted to try and get their brand to them or interview them or whatever it may be. And so, yeah, I think I just kind of started to build a lot of trust there with them, you know, and yeah, so that was like a super dope moment. I think one of my other favorite moments is when I was doing a lot of work with Scotty ATL. So he's obviously in Atlanta, but you know, I was doing some just some PR work for him. And again, you know, I always like to point out, I did not go to school for none of the shit that I do.
Yeah.
Right? I learned everything that I do by experience, by just doing it, right. And then tweaking it and figuring it out, looking at other people, you know,
that's what it's about.
Googling the verbiage if I don't know, because I don't have like a super heavy vocabulary, but I do in the right situations because I know what type of words I need to use, you know. Right. But anyways, at this time, I think this was 2017, and Karen Civil, who was somebody that I really looked up to. She's dope. Yeah, because she was really like one of the first people that I looked at and was like, that's what I could be. That's the type of shit. In a year or two. Yeah. I was like, that's the shit I can do, you know? So it was the first time I kind of looked at what I was doing and like affiliated it to somebody bigger than me, that I was like, oh, that's what it is, you know? Yeah. Anyways, so she had been doing this series on her blog that was Welcome to My Hood. Yeah. Right? And so I was like, Scotty, like, you should do this. This would be super dope. And it's just, I don't know, but I emailed her. She emailed me back. And we set it up from there. And so I was like, because that's like one thing about me is I've never been afraid to like hit somebody up, reach out to, I remember I did a brand placement with Stally, and his manager was like, how did you find me? I was like, I don't know, man. I just kept looking and I found you. Look around. But like, I
always say like, when you're trying to hit up celebrities or people around them, 5 out of every 100 or 10 out of 100 are gonna respond. Yeah.
It's,
1 or 2 goes through.
Yeah, man, and like Twitter was huge for me in the beginning. Like I was like, Twitter is the shit. I reached out to, I would tweet people and they would tweet back. You know what I'm saying? And you just like make the contact. But yeah, so I ended up being able to get him that interview. And it was, you know, I was like, well, I got to be there for it. So I flew to Atlanta for the day of filming. And it was literally like a full day of filming. She sent out like a crew. We were like seeing where he grew up, like going to a couple different places. And yeah, I think that moment just really gave me a huge sense of confidence and like, just knowing that like I'm capable of doing this shit. Like I'm not afraid to reach out, and like I just felt really proud of that, you know. Like I've done a lot of really cool things like that you know, people might look at my socials and they just don't know. They don't know that I've done that. And I don't like, you know, boast anything. But I kind of need to, because this has been Squizzy Taylor was just talking about this, you know. You got to kind of like
let people know
who you are. Like step into who you are. Like walk with that confidence. Like let people know what you've done. Right. And so that's kind of something I'm working on. Like I'm like, Lizzy Brodie needs a media kit. I need to link in all my work. But you know, just that was a huge interview for him. Probably one of the biggest that he's had at that time. Right. And you know, it's just like I did that. You know, and that felt amazing. So
I could relate to that. There's definitely been a lot of moves that I've been a part of with the Colorado hip-hop scene that people don't know about. Yeah. You know, for example, when Bootleg Kev came out here, like, I helped Meezy get on that cypher. That's one example. Yeah. You know, but there's been plenty of examples, and I don't really, like, go out of my way to be public about it. Yeah. Like, try and, you know what I'm saying? Not to say it's right or wrong either way, but no. I feel you. It's just like as a platform or like a media personality or a blogger, you kind of got to do stuff like that. And it's like it's like you want the credit for some stuff, but you don't necessarily, like, you don't care, but it's like people will say things about you and you'll just like think back to moments like that, and you're like, if only people knew, or, you know?
Yeah, if
like,
you must only knew.
Yeah.
I'm put it together in a book for you. Yeah. Put it out there. But yeah, another dope thing I had a part of was a JID and Method Man track.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if it ever got released.
JID, right? Or,
yeah,
okay.
JID, yeah. I'm like, I call him JID. I don't know if that's either way. But yeah, I knew his manager really well at the time. Like, again, like, my networking skills have just always been really good, and I say that in the most humble way. But I just think that me being a social person, me just being genuine and just being myself has helped me, you know, build these relationships in the industry and nurture them, and still have them to this day. So his JID's manager reached out to me and was like, yo, do you think it's possible to try it? We have this track. We really would love to get Method Man on it. And I'm like, sure, I'll just, you know, why not?
Try it. Yeah.
So I hit up Meth, and Meth was a fan of his. So he was like, yeah, Lizzy, send it over. So I was able to, you know, just be the middle person in between that. And I'm like, I don't know if that track did get released or not. I do think they have a track out together. I'm just not sure if that was the one. But yeah, just like dope shit like that, you know, just like,
connecting to art.
Yeah, like I'm like, I used to be like, I'm a professional dot connector, but I'm like, really, I mean, yeah.
I mean, you are.
Yeah, I guess so.
That's not the only thing, but that's a big part.
Right, yeah.
Okay. Okay, this is what people always ask me when I go on podcasts. So, the elephant in the room, right? So, you're obviously white in hip-hop. Yeah. Talk about that experience general and, like, how you do it. What are your thoughts, I suppose?
So, you know, I just, you know, I'm 40 years old, right? I was born in 85.
Yeah.
I grew up on hip hop. You know, I mean, I respect hip hop. You know, when I got to a certain age, you know, I really like wanted to learn the history of hip hop, and did. You know, I understand the elements of hip hop. I respect it. Yeah. I know it's not a white culture, you know, like I get it. But it's also been really, really dope to watch how hip hop has evolved and how it has become such a diverse mainstream thing now. So I had somebody ask me once if I feel like a visitor in hip hop, and you know, I was like, no, I don't. I feel like I'm a part of it too, right, you know, because I've grown up on it, because it resonates so much with me, because I have friends that are hip hop goats, you know, and these are my friends, you know, and you know, and I think in the beginning, you know, when I like dropped LizzyBrodie.com, and you know, throughout the years, there's definitely been like, oh, the white girl comments, you know, or this, you know, a lot of really bad, foul shit has been said to me online.
It's hard.
And it used to bother me. Yeah. It used to bother me. I remember a few times where I was in tears a little bit over the comments, because it made me feel like, should I not be doing this? You know, should I not? But then I'm like, no, I love this shit. I love talking about hip hop. I love being a part of it, you know, and, so, you know, over the years, my skin's just got a lot thicker, you know. If a troll wants to call me this white culture vulture, whatever, online, cool, bro. Yeah. Block, you know, just block them and move forward, you know. Like, I know I'm genuine. I know, like, you know, and I don't like the term culture vulture. It's used very loosely, I think, because when you're creating opportunity for people in hip hop, and when you are adding to it, right? Like, bro, like,
it's the exact opposite.
It's the exact opposite, you know. Like, no, like, I love this culture. Right. I'm not taking from it and running with it. I'm adding to it, you know, and like, that's okay. You know, I kind of, you know, people are allowed to feel how they want to feel. But I will not let that affect me and my moves and my love for hip hop.
Yeah. Yeah. I can relate. You know, I think a lot of times people don't look in detail. They just see you're white, you're a culture vulture.
Right.
Like you said, everyone's entitled to their own opinion.
100%, yeah.
I get it, but like you said, you have to grow thicker skin. And
you do. Yeah.
I remember when I first, like, I think it was like 2-3 years into it, I guess, people were trying to cancel me a little bit, or they were like, I put my first list out and people were just kind of like not having it.
Yeah, dude.
I feel you. I turned my phone off, went to the mountains, and I was like, yo, I cannot deal with these.
Yeah, comments. It's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah, but you get used to it.
You do get used to it. And you just have to have thicker skin. You know what I'm saying? Like, people are not all going to like you. They're not going to understand. They're not going to resonate. And that's okay.
They don't know you.
Yeah, at this point, I know that I have a good reputation. I haven't done bad business. You know what I'm saying? Like,
the people who matter out here know you and respect you.
Yeah, and that's for my whole network across the country, you know, like I got people in Atlanta, I've got people in Miami, I got people in New York, and I'm really grateful for those relationships, and I know that those people will co-sign for me if needed. It's like I don't really need the co-signs, it's appreciated, but at this point I'm like
they see the benefit you brought to them.
I've consistently brought something to the table as well, so
that's real.
Yeah,
I can respect that. Okay, we'll do this. So we'll do Mount Rushmore in general.
Okay.
Hip hop. So just 4.
Yeah.
No more than 4. People always try to throw more.
Yeah.
And then we'll do Colorado.
Okay. Oh shit. Okay, so my personal Mount Rushmore. I gotta put Guru up there. So rest in peace, Guru, Gangstar. And that is because he taught me a lot with his music.
Okay.
Personal lessons that have shaped the person I am today. So, Biggie, Hove, Nipsey.
Okay. That's
what I'm
very
going
balanced. With. I like it. West Coast, East Coast.
Yeah, that's what I'm going with.
With Biggie, didn't you do a story?
Yeah, so I had it was a Biggie and the Bunny.
Okay.
There's a picture that circulated online of Biggie with this girl kind of sitting on his knee, right? And it circulated online a lot with being like, oh, Biggie loved the snow bunnies. She was a white girl, right?
Yeah.
And
love to say that.
I gotta send it to you. Ashton Kutcher had tweeted out the picture and was like, somebody tell me the backstory to this picture or something like along those lines.
Yeah.
And turns out I know the girl in the picture.
Oh, okay.
She's a bit older than me. Not too many, maybe like 10-ish years older than me. Her name is Danielle. She is from the East Coast. Okay. And that was her in that picture. And the story behind it was that her older brother was a DJ. And he was DJing in all around the city, tri-state at that time. And somehow ended up in a studio session in Jersey. She ended up going with him. I think her and her friend. Yeah, they were just like in the studio with Biggie, and she wanted to take a picture with him. So she just took a picture. And that's what it was. She said he wasn't weird. He was very nice. He wasn't a pervert. He wasn't disrespectful. She was really young at the time. I think she was like 14 or 15. So there's a lot of like the picture doesn't
look great.
Doesn't look great, but nothing crazy happened. And it was fine. But yeah, that was the story. So as soon as I found out, I was like, oh shit. I'm like, Danielle, let me get the story. So she gives me the whole backdrop. I blog it up. The shit went viral.
Oh, how'd you know her?
How did I know her?
Was it like school or something?
No, I think I just knew her from social media.
Oh, okay.
We've been like Facebook friends and like social media friends for years. I don't know if it was maybe her brother that was my sister. I don't know. I'd have to check and look back on the messages. But yeah, I mean, somehow I knew him. Yeah. And I talked with her and got the story and had permission to put it all out. So yeah, and then that shit went viral. That was fire. So I'm like, hey, Ashton Kutcher, here's the story. Yeah. Here you go.
That's dope. Pictures, you got to be careful with pictures. You got to learn, you got to do research.
Yeah. Well, this is the 90s, you know? I don't know. We were in that era where everything was seen, you know? It's a totally different time, so.
Man, I couldn't imagine. Okay, Colorado Mount Rushmore.
Mount Rushmore.
Would you rather do moguls And like just in general, like anyone involved with Colorado hip hop or rapper. Okay.
Let me do that. So my Colorado hip hop mogul.
And they could be rappers too, but just like anyone who's involved with the Colorado hip hop scene.
K-Tone.
Okay, that's solid.
For sure. I'm gonna also throw Squizzy up there.
Solid.
Okay. I've gotta put. I gotta put my guy Trev up there.
Okay, solid.
Because I've been Trev since Rocky G5, so I've watched his journey. And I had his booking info back in the day. Rocky G5, how much you could pay. And it's so hard to say because I'm like I want to put a.
The fourth one's always the hardest.
Yeah, the fourth one is always really hard. Damn. You know what? I'm gonna throw my boy Trace Chapman up there.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why.
Go ahead, yeah.
He's been one of the most consistent artists throughout my time in Colorado. He's consistently been dope. Yeah. Consistently dropped projects. Consistently been performing. And he's got fire visual catalog as well. Just solid. Shout out to my dog Trace.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So there's my K-Tone, Squizzy, Trev, and Trace.
Okay. I like how you threw Trace on there though.
Yeah.
Because like I've obviously K-Tone, Squizzy, Trev, everyone knows Trace too, but I feel like those are kind of easy go-to names.
Yeah.
So that's
but I mean K-Tone's contribution over his years,
right,
unmatched. And then just where Squizzy is at now,
right,
unmatched. And then Trev, just
Grammy nom, all that. Yeah. Okay. So I dropped the list a month ago. It had the city going crazy. What were your honest, unbiased opinions when you seen it and the reactions after that?
Okay, so when I first saw the list, I was like, oh shit, here we go. I don't really get too caught up on a list, right? Yeah. But I love it because I do think it's important to create conversation. The way people get so worked up over a list is actually insane and should be studied. Because here's the thing, like I could make a list, right? Yeah. I low-key was thinking about it. I was like, let me just be messy and make my own list. But
it's messy.
Well, yours is not messy because yours was very calculated. You have like a fucking Excel sheet, bro. I'm like, how can y'all got to get it together? Y'all got to get it together when a list drops. But music is also super personal, right? So what one artist could mean to somebody might not mean the same thing to somebody else, lyrically, or, they don't write the beats or whatever it is. It's like, it's so personal. There's no list is right or wrong.
Right.
There's no right or wrong to any list.
No matter how much research.
No matter how much information you use to make it, it still always comes down to a personal opinion.
Right.
And that's okay. But yeah, I do think making a list, I do think it's necessary. People need to, when you dropped your list, right, and people were going crazy about who is not mentioned or this, that, and the other, I remember I was like, what's crazy is I haven't seen these people mention the names that they're barking over until now.
Yeah, right.
So if you are so serious about this artist and you believe in them and you want to support them you're not actively doing that until you see a problem. Now that means you have a negative emotion that's brought up in you, and now you're going crazy. Right. But how can you put that same energy into supporting that artist all the time?
Right.
And that's where I think mental illness comes in. No, for real. But like I was saying too, with like the social media thing, it's like people cannot feel some people cannot feel a way and not say something.
Right.
They cannot keep their trigger fingers from blasting off. It's just, they can't even. They get so worked up.
Right.
But again, it's good. It's good for the scene. It's good for the culture. You know, like people need to have the conversations. Have those conversations. You might think this artist sucks. Well, why do you think they suck? And maybe what can someone who thinks they're great teach you about them? You know, maybe you're not listening to their music in a certain way. Maybe this person can lighten the perspective, you know, or teach you something you weren't thinking about.
Right.
You know, like, again, it's always personal. Like, nobody is going to always hear music in the same exact way or hear the same lyrics or interpret the lyrics in that way. So, you know, it's like, it's totally necessary, you know, like debating hip hop is like one of my favorite things to do. We can do it, but it's part of it. You should be able to do it. You look at all the big media outlets over the years, you know, they have always been discussing it. So you can't get over here and get mad and want to beat people up because they are not on a list. Like, get your shit together. Colorado, stop it.
Oh, I love that you bring that up because I was kind of scared to do it for a while, you know, especially like I did a couple when I kind of first started, like a year or two in. They weren't all time, they were just current, right, in my opinion. And like I was getting threats, like it was just like, damn, like, you know, people would be mad. And I was, so it kind of scared me or shied me away from it. I was like, let me not ruffle these feathers. Yeah. But this year, I just, you know, I'm seeing Complex do their list. Yes. XXL. I'm seeing.
Like, never seen the mic ratings.
Right, yeah. The LA Rap Report Cards. I'm seeing all these platforms do it, and I'm like, why am I gonna be scared to do this? Don't
be scared. Don't be scared to do it. You know, I think that, you know, if I could give you a piece of advice with your list, I would try to get your list out to maybe some of those other national big blogs and be like, hey, this is who I am. This is what I got going on.
That's a good point.
This is the list, you know, and then maybe even be like, this is the response that it gives or something like that. But then, you know, also too, to the artists who get pissed that they're not on the list, you're not doing enough work.
Motivate.
Let it motivate you. There's a reason why your stats aren't high enough, you don't have enough drops, you're not consistent enough. And like, that's one thing I really hate is when an artist is very inconsistent, but then always want all this types of recognition. It's like there is so much at your fingertips these days to push your music out. You know, to be in touch with people, to talk to fans, to build fans, to release music or whatever it may be, right?
Yeah.
And what are you doing? You're not doing that, right? And there's always going to be somebody else willing to work harder than you.
Right.
So if you're not on a list, that just means you need to work harder. You need to do more. You know, if one of your goals as an artist is to be featured on Mile High Minutes music list, then like, what do you need? Call up Bren. What do you need to do?
Right. I'll be straight up.
Right.
I'll give
exactly. You know, like especially when it's not like you're not even necessarily going strictly off of your opinion. You were trying to use data behind it. So it's like, okay, well, do you need more followers? Do you need more streams? Do you need to drop a couple more videos or like whatever it may be, you know? But, you know, getting all worked up over it is super crazy.
Right. Yeah. And I like that you bring that up too, because the further you go back on that list, like the easier it is to argue this a person or their spot. Like, for example, the Trevs, the APs, Tag Team, Flowbots, like, in my opinion, like, those names are so stamped, like, even if maybe they're not your top 10, if you're doing an unbiased Colorado rap list, like, they have to be on there, you know?
Yeah.
So, to your point, if you're not working as hard as these dudes, or, you know, like, you're not going to be on, you know?
Yeah, you're
like,
not, right.
Okay, sure, maybe you could have been a 15 or a 20, like, sure, okay, you know what, maybe you got a point, but, like you said, I did do my best to, like, be unbiased, and it's impossible to be completely unbiased. There's going to be subjectiveness, but I really did, like, my best to look at the numbers, look at, you know, their impact and put different scores and stuff like that together. Like, because as a platform, if it's going to be received, like, it needs to be unbiased. Yeah, if this was Brenton's, you know, this is who I listen to, it's different. This is my favorite. Like, But yeah, no, I respect that. But yeah, I mean, I think they're important. Get seen talking about hip hop, you know, that's the whole point.
That's the whole point.
Yeah, just,
you know, music. I mean, everybody should be able to have a healthy debate about music.
Right. Yeah.
Like, grow up.
Yeah, it's not politics. It's just
grow up.
Yeah. Okay. Do you want to talk about the Hustlers Brunch and like maybe any other upcoming events or anything like that?
Sure. So, you know, the Hustlers Brunch I started in 2018. So it's 7 years old now. I hosted a bunch of events this year. I did a summer series. The Hustlers Brunch is basically a networking event for entrepreneurs, hustlers, business owners. It was loosely inspired by the Rock Nation Brunch because I wanted to create a space where all the heavy hitters could get together, and you know, then I incorporated the live panel, which gives, you know, people the opportunity to share their story and their insight on what it means to be successful, how they got there, how they stay there, things like that. But yeah, you know, I love the Hustlers Brunch. It obviously resonates with me and my story and who I am. I love being able to have those conversations about self-development, you know, business development, self-care, you know, like what it really, really, really means to like be in it to win it and be successful. Because so many people will just, you know, they think, you know, throwing an event or dropping a t-shirt or throwing out an album is going to be like a quick get rich scheme or idea or something, you know, but there's like so much more that goes into being successful, and being able to balance that. You know, I'm a mother of two, so like, what does that look like as a parent? You know, how do you balance all the things and stay happy and healthy in each, you know, role that you play in your life? You know, it's hard. But, you know, I'm excited for 2026 because I'm going to be bringing the Hustlers Brunch to Miami. I'm going to be bringing the Hustlers Brunch to Atlanta. And we'll see where else we end up. You know, I'm sure I'll be doing another one in Denver next year, but it's definitely time to take the show on the road a little bit, build the brand in other cities, utilize my network in those cities, and, you know, just do what I do.
That's dope.
Yeah.
Okay. You know, where the people can find you, any shout outs, last minute things you want to speak on?
Sure. You can find me at lizzybrodie.com, which is LIZZYBRODIE. That's the blog. That's the About Me. You can contact me there. Also, you can check me out at thehustlersbrunch.com. Stay in the loop on upcoming events there as well. I also do want to shout out my Lessons in Hip Hop series. It's a show where we talk about the lyrics and lessons that hip hop has taught us through the music. So you can check that out at lessonsinhiphop.com. But yeah, I just want to thank you for being here. Thanks everybody for always supporting me, and it's dope shit only until I die.
Can I get a shout out from Mile High Minute?
For sure.
Time? Go ahead, whenever.
Big shout out to Mile High Minute for having me. Such a huge platform for Colorado. So many dope things, and thank you so much for having me.
Appreciate it. Make sure y'all go follow Lizzy Brodie on everything. Instagram, X, Facebook, YouTube, all that links will be in the description of this interview. Make sure y'all hit that like button. Comment down below the best gem you picked up from Lizzy in this interview. Hit that subscribe button, hit that bell button to stay notified when all latest news drops. We're also on all podcast platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, all that good stuff. Make sure y'all go subscribe, listen there. If you don't feel like watching on YouTube, Mile High Minute, #1 blog in the universe. We out. Appreciate you.